In this video, we are going to highlight the main ALARA principles to follow when it comes to patient exposure. The three cardinal rules for implementing safe radiation protection include time, distance, and shielding, as well as proper collimation. X-rays use ionizing radiation and damages living systems, which is why it is important to use radiation safety guidelines, such as ALARA. Throughout the video, we will show the do's and don'ts of proper radiation protection to keep both the patient and the technologist safe.
Alright, Ms. Jackson, so we're going to be taking x-rays of your right hip, so I'll have you lie on your back, relax your legs. This tube is going to be coming above you. Alright, the table's going to be moving. I'm going to be poking in your hip a little bit. Alright, just hold still. Alright, just hold still. Freeze.
Tight collimation reduces unnecessary patient exposure to gonadal areas, as well as increases image quality by reducing scatter radiation.
Alright, Ms. Jackson, so we're going to be taking x-rays of your right hip, so I'll have you lie on your back, relax your legs. This tube is going to be coming above you. Alright, the table's going to be moving. I'm going to be poking in your hip a little bit. Now that's what proper collimation looks like. Alright, Ms. Jackson, I'm just going to have you lay back for me. Put your hands down by your side. I'm just going to do some poking at your hip. And then I'm going to give you some breathing instructions, and I'm going to set some stuff up back here. You want me to breathe now? Just stay like that. I'm almost done back here. All right, Miss Jackson, I want you to take a big breath in, blow all that air out, hold it out, don't breathe. You can breathe. Looks good. Freeze.
There are two mistakes the tech made during the exam. When you are x-raying a patient, your main goal is to use the shortest time of exposure as possible. This means that the technologist should have set the correct technique before they positioned the patient, or checked if the patient moved before setting the technique. This mistake not only increased the exposure time, but the amount of radiation given to the patient due to the technologist having to take a repeat image. The technologist also used the wrong technique for their patient. When dealing with heavier patients, it is the technologist's job to make sure they correctly increase the technique for their patient. Let's watch that back as the tech does it correctly.
All right, Ms. Jackson, I'm going to have you lay down on your back, put your arms down by your side, and before we get you started, I'm just going to set some things up in the back. All right, Ms. Jackson, I'm just going to have you stay like that. This is going to come over you. And then I'm just going to do some feeling at your hip. Right? And then I'm going to give you some breathing instructions. All right, Miss Jackson, I want you to take a big breath in, blow that air out, hold it out, don't breathe. You can breathe. Looks good. All right, Miss Jackson, I'm just gonna have you put him on the board for me. I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna have you put it on. And then I'm just gonna have you hold the seats. All right, looks good. I'm just gonna set some things up back here. All right, just hold still. Freeze!
There are two mistakes that the tech made during this exam. When you are x-raying a patient, your main goal is to use the shortest exposure time as possible. This means that the technologist should have set the correct technique before they position the patient or check if the patient moved after setting the technique. This mistake not only increases the exposure time, but the amount of radiation given to the patient due to the technologist having to take a repeat image. The technologist also uses the wrong technique for their patient. When dealing with pediatric patients, it's the technologist's job to make sure they correctly decrease the technique for their patient. Now let's watch that back and watch the tech do it right.
All right, Miss Jackson, I'm just gonna have you place him down on the IR. And then I'm just gonna have you wait here while I go set some things up for the exam. All right, I'm gonna give you this lead. I'll have you put it on. And then I'm gonna have you hold his arms up for me. All right, just hold still.
Hello Maggie, my name's Faith. Can you just tell me your last name and date of birth?
Smith, 3/14/2000.
Alright, we're just gonna get a quick chest x-ray right here in the bed, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so I'm just gonna get this behind your back. Have you lean forward for me. Alright, you can lean back. Good. Alright. Right now I'm gonna have you take a big breath in and hold it.
Freeze! There are two things the technologist did wrong here. First, she did not ask the other person in the room to step outside to reduce and prevent radiation exposure. Second, she did not step at least 6 feet away from the patient to reduce radiation exposure. Technologists should consider radiation protection for everyone. The walls of the room are considered primary barriers to X-rays. Having others in the room step out can help prevent radiation exposure. The amount of radiation exposure is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. This means double the distance from the X-ray source can reduce radiation exposure not by half, but by a fourth. And remember to always ask other family members to step out of the room before you expose the patient. Also, take 2 steps back behind the portable X-ray machine, and this can reduce exposure by 80%.
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot distance. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot distance. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot distance. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot distance.
Hello Maggie, my name's Faith. Can you just tell me your last name and date of birth?
Smith, 3/14/2000.
Alright, we're just gonna get a quick chest x-ray right here in the bed, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so I'm just gonna get this behind you. I'll have you lean forward for me. And you can go ahead and lean back. Good. And then I'm just gonna get this all positioned. And I'm just gonna have you step outside the room. Alright, right now take a big breath in and hold it.
And now that's proper distancing for both the technologist and the patient. Have you ever had an esophagram before, Miss Jackson?
I have not.
Alright, I'll have you stand up on our table. So first, we're going to give you some crystals and water to take.
Try not to burp. It's going to make you feel like you have to, but try to keep it down. We're going to give you some barium. The rag will tell you when to drink it. We'll take a couple of pictures. Then we're going to set the table down, have you roll around a little bit to cover your esophagus, drink some more barium, take a couple more pictures, and that should be the end of the exam. Okay. It looks like the rat is here. Miss Jackson, this is Dr. Ray.
Hello, let's get this exam started. Alright, so this is just going to come a little closer to you. And then I'll take that and I'll put that in your hand. I'm just going to turn you a little bit and I'm going to have you drink, okay? Alright, you can stop drinking. Now I'll take the cup.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. They're using fluoro without any lead aprons or thyroid collars. This is bad because frequent exposure to radiation can cause health issues down the road. Wear your lead aprons and thyroid collars to protect those sensitive organs. Here's your shield. Here's your shield for radiation protection.
It looks like the rat is ready. Hello, Miss Jackson, this is Dr. Ray.
Take that. Alright. Does everyone have their shields on? Alright, let's get this exam started. Okay, I'll take the barium.
There you go.
Thank you. I'm going to have you put this in your left hand and kind of turn away from me. Good. You can start drinking. Okay, you can stop drinking. I'll take the cup.
And that's what I call proper shielding.
So much radiation in here, where do I begin? I see this one, I'm about to go in. Then I said, what about my friends? It got me thinking, and that's when I said, where them shields at, ooh. Where them shields at, ooh. Where them shields at, ooh. So go get them and be protected.
In this video, we discuss the importance of following ALARA principles to reduce unnecessary and potentially harmful exposure to both the patients and medical personnel. We demonstrated some key ALARA principles such as time, distance, shielding, and the importance of proper collimation.
It is important to ensure that you are using proper collimation to decrease the exposure of your patients, as well as improve image quality and reduce the need of repeat exposures. It is also important to ensure that you have at least 6 feet of distance between you and the X-ray source, as well as removing other people from the room to eliminate unnecessary exposure to both the technologists and other patients.
We also demonstrated and explained using lead shields, especially during fluoro procedures, to protect sensitive organs from radiation.
It is important to properly adjust exposure time based on the patient's age and size. It is especially important to reduce exposure time for pediatric patients to protect their developing organs.
And we hope that after this video you will follow the ALARA principles to use to protect not only yourself but also your patients too.